Welcome everybody back to the channel. My name is Rich. This is RR37. We are back today, but this time we are back with a brand new series. It's FIFA 21. It has finally dropped. It is the full edition of the game. I did have the 10-hour trial where I recorded some footage, but it was rushed. When I watched back, it was a mess. I didn't like it, so we're starting complete fresh. We're going, as you can see, with Middlesbrough, and we have used the takeover. So as you can see here, it says Middlesbrough set to join the elite. The deal's done. The takeover has been agreed. Supporters will wake up this morning and find out that their club is now one of the wealthiest. It says there on the planet, but we definitely will be the wealthiest in the championship. Negotiations were concluded late yesterday evening in a hotel in Middlesbrough. The new owners are expected to set about establishing Middlesbrough as a new force in world football. So with that being said, I will explain why we have used the takeover shortly. We will get onto it, and we have the manager, you can see there. His name is Richard Harley. I will explain more about the manager later, but it does go on there to say, as we're reading it down, that the fans' minds is at rest and they do see this as a good fit. There are fans, if you continue to read down there, that say they're a bit more weary of it, that we're not experienced enough, which I would disagree with. Again, I will show you why shortly. But that is what's happened so far. It is literally brand new. We've got our fixture list as well above, which basically says our first game is at home against Nottingham Forest. So we will be at the Riverside in our first ever league game, which I'm happy about. It is always nice to start at home in front of your own fans, hopefully full of optimism, especially with the takeover happening. But back to Harley here. As you can see, we were at Kilmarnock before joining Middlesbrough. We spent the best part of 7 years there, collecting 9 trophies along the way. We started winning big, as you can see, the biggest win there, 7-0 against Celtic. While we were still building a couple of years before, they did manage to get a 4-0 win against us. Our record transfer fee that we paid was 31 million. Total earnings there were 8.5 million. We played 364 games, got 290 wins, 38 draws, 36 losses, scored a staggering 939 goals, and shipped 261 along the way. So as you can see, like I mentioned, we got 7 years in the game, collecting 9 trophies, so that's more than 1 trophy a year. We've got 300 and odd games under our belt, so I think it is right that we disagree with those fans who are a bit sceptical. I understand that people say it's easier to win in Scotland than it is in England. Well, that remains to be seen, but we've built up quite the record there, and that is why we've been chosen to take this project on. Now, as for the takeover, we had that because, as you can see here, we built up quite a lot of finances, and we had nearly 300 million as opposed to the 200 million ready to spend. And we did build Kilmarnock from the ground up. Everything from ground, the money we've got, the squad we've got, they started absolutely broke. So trying to create this story arc, as I says, it would have made no sense to leave this club that we've built ourselves, like I said, from the ground up, to then come to another club who are not in Europe, not competing like that, who would have no money in the bank, and to start a complete fresh. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something different, so that explains why we've chose Middlesbrough. The manager, Harley, likes projects. He spent, like I said, 7 years here, so he does like to do that and mould the club in his own image. The money is because why would you leave a club? As you can see here, I just put this clip in to show that we were in the Champions League, competing for European trophies, cash rich and all of that. You just would not leave that to come to a club where you've got to start completely and utterly from scratch again, unless of course you got sacked, which was not the case. So I hope that explains why we're where we are and why we have done what we've done. Now though, it's time to go back to FIFA 21 and show you the settings for those of you who might be worried about the takeover. As you can see, the first thing there in the bottom left, we have disabled the transfer window. This is basically because the transfer window has only just shut, and it would make no sense that all these new players have gone wherever they've gone and then we rip the guts out the team straight away. That is not what I'm looking to do, so we've disabled the first transfer window. We got strict negotiations even though we have got the money, so that might counteract the amount of money that we've got in some ways. And everything else, Legendary has got the sliders on. I did that in the trial and it's saved over, so we're picking up even the difficulty from where we left it on FIFA 20. 6-minute halves is just what I always play, and the European competitions is enabled even though we're not in them anyway. So that is the setting. So even though we have took a huge chunk of money for the takeover, we're not going to be able to use it straight away, and then because we've got strict negotiations on anyway, it might not even amount to that much. Time will tell, we'll have to wait and see with that one, but that is the settings that we're going to be rolling with for the whole career mode. Other than the difficulty, if it gets too easy, we'll up it just like we was doing in FIFA 20, although you wouldn't have seen that because this is the first series that I've done. So that's where we're at, where the settings are concerned. So hopefully that puts your mind at rest a little bit about starting with so much money as well. Now to the on the pitch stuff. Now we've explained how we got here, let's explain what we're going to be doing here, starting with the European International Cup held in Norway. This is our pre-season tournament. I did want to show you me selecting this and going through the process of why I did choose this one, because obviously we don't really need the money now. Basically it was just all the stars were the same for difficulty, but just going off based off what the actual teams in the competition are, this seemed like the most difficult one, and that's what I wanted to go for, to see where we really are before we start the competitive season. So you saw our group. This group is the much tougher group and probably will have the winner of the tournament in it as well, I would imagine, with Rosenborg, Girona, Malaga and La Spezia, I think is how you say that one. That is much tougher than the group that we're in. For this tournament, I would like to think that we'll get out of the group into the semi-finals. That's my expectations. My hopes are that we'll be lifting a trophy come the end of pre-season, but realistic expectations, I'm experimenting with the squad during this, as we'll see in a minute. Just getting to know all of my players and establish an understanding of the squad, really, I suppose. So we'll probably play the first team in the first game, which I believe for us was against Paderborn. Then we'll play the first team, but a second formation, which again I'll explain in a bit. And then hopefully we'll be in a position then where we can play the youths in the third game. Just briefly, that is our group. We got National, Paderborn and Molde. So I hope we can get out of that group, even if it's in second place. That would be absolutely fine. So that's pre-season, but now going on to the squad like I was just talking about, I'll explain more now what I was just saying. So this is the squad that I've decided to roll with. We've got Asombalonga up front next to Akpom, Tavernier just behind. We've got Seville and Morsey as the two centre midfielders. Then we're going with wing backs to start with. We've got Bola and Spence with McNair, Howson, and I'm just going to call that guy Dykesteel. I don't know if that's how you say that. Bettinelli in goals. On the bench we've got Fletcher, Brown, Maley, Wing, Liddell, Wood and Stevanovic. That is, going through the team off camera, one that I think will most suit the way that I want to play here. If there's any players that you want in the team or you think I should be giving a go, let me know. But we are going to roll, that is the default formation with Middlesbrough at the moment, so we're going to roll with that. I did play one friendly with them off camera, not a pre-season, like it wasn't even in the career mode, just while I was trying to figure out which team I wanted to do this career with. And I did like it. I liked the formation. I've never used this one before until then, but yeah, I did like it, so we're going to roll with it, at least for pre-season. Things can change. But for now, that is what we're going to go with. As I was going through the players in the team, there's just a few that I want to develop straight away. The Tavernier, I want to actually make a cam, definitely. Morsey, I'm going to leave till after pre-season to see whether I like this formation as much still or not. But definitely a Sombalonga, he needs his work rates, his attacking work rates improving. He's got medium and low, which is just not going to be good enough to play in a team of mine. So we've jumped on that straight away. We've jumped on Tavernier, becoming a cam straight away. Other than that, I'm going to leave everything until after pre-season and just see if this is going to be the final squad or not. As for the style of play and the tactics, well, we've moved the defensive style off drop back to balanced. We're pretty compact, not the most compact team though, and instead of being all the way back, we are now going to be defending on the front foot. And speaking of on the front foot, offensively, that is exactly what we're going to do as well. These tactics are not just random, they're what I've blended over time at Kilmarnock, and we're going to bring it down here. It's exactly the same blueprint and see if it will work in the Championship. It may not, we may have to tweak things a bit, I'm not sure yet, but that's exactly what pre-season is for. So we've seen the squad, we've seen the tactics, I'll show you now our plan B. And here it is, we've got a Sombalonga up front on his own this time. Tavernier moves from cam to left cam basically. Akpom down the centre just behind a Sombalonga. We've got Walker who comes in as the right cam. Seville and Morsey holding it down in centre midfield. And then we've still got Boller, but now he's a left back rather than wing back. We've got Housen, Dyke Steele, Spence on right back, and Bettinelli still in goals. We're still in this formation going to have Boller and Spence bombing forward, overlapping, running past Walker and Tavernier. But this basically, I say it's plan B, because if we're playing against teams that have got two up front, then we will use the 5-2-1-2. If we come up against teams though that only have the one striker, then we'll probably move to 4-2-3-1 just to give us that extra bit of attacking power. 4-2-3-1 is what we rolled at Kilmarnock and was really successful with it, so I am comfortable with that. But it just makes more sense to maybe ship less goals than I did at Kilmarnock, to have the three centre backs against two strikers, just to make sure we don't be getting overloaded or outnumbered when we lose ball. So that is my thinking with the plan B. And then after that we have got the second 11, which is our third team sheet. We've got Fletcher up front, Maley in behind him. We've got Brown as left cam, Walker as right cam, still with Seville and Morsey. But we've got Coulson as left back, Wood and Fry as our centre back pairing, and Dyke Steele will move out to the right hand side just to give Spence a rest. But that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in the first episode. I know that there's no games or nothing like that, but I just wanted to really set this all up and show you what was going on. The second episode will be all of the pre-season taken care of. It'll probably just be a little highlights package of how we got on there. And then episode 3 will come back and try and show you everything that was learnt and what we're going to do in the competitive season. But yeah, that is going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.